it is safe because we fenced all of our lands. But on whether it is, I think the problem here is the title deed. But I'm sure all our dispensaries, all our hospitals, they're all fenced, and I'm sure if there is any encroachments, nothing has been reported yet. We have so much land even for the hospital that a few months ago we provided the Kenya Medical College with part of our hospital land so they can put up a college. We have enough, and it's all fenced.
Chair, Governor, you know from your responses, you are treating this query and this question from my two colleagues in a very casual manner, Governor. When the senator says how safe the land is, he doesn't necessarily refers to physical safety. And that's why you have a whole department, and Waziri for Lands is here. When you have crucial government institutions like hospitals, that you have land that you cannot secure in terms of records, the first thing you need to do as a CEC, and I'm speaking to the CEC, is to try and come up with measures towards, recording that particular asset. And I'm speaking about measures aimed at titling that particular. It doesn't cost you so much. I mean, if it's 10 acres you have, putting funds to title that area is very simple. You don't have to do it as an entire county operation. And you've been in power for the last 3 years. I mean, you're in office for the last 3 years. And that means you casually just look at these properties and you don't want to even secure it. So when Lelego is asking about how safe it is, he's not referring to issues of fencing and physical safety. He's referring to records. How safe, because there are many people out there who are unscrupulous, who can get a title on your land, take a loan, and you don't even know. Take a loan against it, you just see auctioneers coming to auction your ICU center, for instance. So Governor, please don't be casual with these responses.
Senator, I agree with you. I can't be casual, and I will never be. But all what we can provide to secure land as a county, I think all our lands have allotment letters, and the CC for lands can confirm that. So I think I would like him to explain why we don't, because I think there is something bigger than what we have here in terms of.
Okay, thank you, Chair. For the land, like Maralal Referral Hospital and many parcels within Maralal municipality, you have done planning and survey, and have been issued allotment letters. That is how far we are in terms of securing tender for public and private parcels within Maralal municipality. Thank you.
Yeah, I really, now that accountants, you really wanted to speak, your answer to this query on non-disclosure of property, plant and equipment was that you were using cash basis of accounting, and that's why you did not recognize the property, plant and equipment. Then how did the auditor come up with this figure of 2,496,000? Where did it come from?
This was basically expenses incurred in repairs, which was misconstrued into purchase of assets. It wasn't actual purchase of assets. And if I take you back to the financial statements that were audited, note number 31 does not include that figure of 2.4 million. And the same applies to the following query on unsupported inventories balance. Note number 30 on page 38 for the financials is also not included. So these two queries.
You looked at your schedule of property, plant and equipment on page 39. It is empty.
Yes, but where did the auditor get the figure to report on and say note number 31 includes 2.4 million? You see, so these two queries ought not to have been there even in the first place. Because
auditor?
Chair, the initial financial statements that had been submitted had those two figures. They had purchased some assets in the year, and they were to disclose. They had actually disclosed them, under that note 31, but they had not been captured under the balance sheet, which is a statement of financial position. But the fact is, in the course of the year, during the course of our audit, we established that they had various assets in their possession, but the one they did not have that asset register, two, they had not been captured in the financial statement. The same applies to the issue of inventory. They had both pharmaceuticals and non-pharmaceutical inventory in the course of the year, but they had not been captured in the financial statements, and they did not have figures for those items.
I think we need to make progress, honorable members. Again, these two queries are not resolved.
Chair, with your permission,
Yes.
I have listened keenly to the responses from the entity, and not to cast aspersions on the ability to respond effectively before this committee, and not to doubt the competence of the skill set chair. But I feel, Chair, as a committee, perhaps with the indulgence, of course, if we can take 5 minutes to retreat in camera and caucus on a best way forward, Chair. Because I've just looked, and thinking ahead, I've looked at the other queries, especially on the company. I've seen there's no board and all those things, and I don't know if those who are before us are able to properly answer these questions. Maybe if members permit, and through your guidance, Chair, if we can retreat as a committee, including our friend here, the Senator for Samburu, we just caucus amongst ourselves on the best way forward, then we can communicate to the entity on how best we wish to proceed as a committee, Chair, with a lot of humility, Chair.
Honorable members, you know, when I was commenting on earlier, I said that we have had problems in the past where we have had to send the team from Samburu away on 2 occasions because of insufficiency of responses. We do not want to do that today because it looks like this problem will go on and on and on. It is good that members now you are appreciating the matter at hand. I would wish that we go through it, even with the insufficient responses that we have, and we will retreat as a committee at the point of report writing to decide the way forward. I understand your concern, because even the next query we are going to, which is talking about the budget, if you read the responses, you don't get anything at all. It is questioning about lack of an approved budget. The receipts and the payments are different figures, so the budget is not balancing. But the response that has been given here is talking about we will be having, it is futuristic. We would be having approved budgets of the hospital during our quarterly meetings. It is also talking about the future, basically. The answers to these queries have been done futuristically, which is not helping this committee at all. But I want you to appreciate so that we make a decision at the point of report writing on the way forward, because we cannot keep on sending them away for inadequate responses. This would be the 3rd time we are doing that. And the people of Samburu want accountability. So I would request members that, yes, I also appreciate your concern, and that's why initially we wanted these 2 officers to be here, and are not here. So I would suggest that because we are going to the last query on the hospital, we do it, then we check the water, and then members, the ball is in your court to decide what to do with this kind of responses and what action to take.
Well guided, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Auditor, let's go to the query on lack of an approved budget.
Thank you, Chair. The next issue is lack of an approved budget. As previously reported, the statement of financial performance reflects total receipts and payments for the year of Kenya shillings 53 million and 53.4 million respectively. However, no supporting documents were availed for audit to show the annual estimates relating to the year under review were prepared and approved by the hospital's management committee. This is contrary to section 10B of Samburu County Health Services Act 2018, which requires the board to be responsible for approving estimates before submission to the executive member of health. In the circumstances, management was in breach of the law. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, your management response? CAC file?
Mr. Chair, previously the Hospital Management Board have been discussing and approving the budgets for the hospital during their quarterly meetings. However, going forward, the hospital management, this is supposed to be the hospital management team, will prepare and approving their annual budget. Provided in Annex of 1 are copies of the quarterly approved minutes with budget for the year under review.
Bwana CEC, I don't know whether you can, you understand what you have read to us. Did you prepare these responses yourself, or someone else prepared?
Chair, we prepared as a team of the department.
You see, let me take you through your responses. First of all, you are addressing Mr. Chair. You are supposed to address the committee. Previously, the Hospital Management Board have been discussing and approving the budgets for the hospital during their quarterly meeting. Yeah? They have been discussing and approving budgets. However, going forward, the Hospital Management Board will be preparing and approving annual budget. So what are you saying? You have been doing, and then you are saying going forward you will be doing it. So you have, first of all, it is confusing, it's contradictory, and it's not responding to the issue. The issue here is the budget is showing receipts of 53 million and 3,286 and payments of 53 million 476,629. There is a difference. So the budget is not balancing. So you are being asked on why your budget is not balancing. Then the response you are giving is totally incoherent with the query. So that's why I was asking you, did you really prepare these responses? Or someone else prepared the responses you have just come to read?
Actually, the responses were prepared by the accountants.
But you had told us that you prepared the responses.
Yeah, we went through as a team. And just maybe, Mr. Chair, for the...
And you could not see the gaps in your responses?
Chair, I think, okay, I stepped out, sorry, I stepped out, I had some visitors. You know, you've noted that, you know, all these are futuristic. Maybe some simple or silly question that I want to ask the governor. I was with him for 5 years, and they know very well, even the national budget is always read once, and it's done in June. So I don't know where budgets are done quarterly. I don't know if the CEC was just read this. Do they do also quarterly budgets for the executive? I mean, this is competence issue, Chair. Serious competence issue, Chair. If I was the chair, I would have sent them away.
Chair. We're just discussing out with my colleague here.
You brought up that issue, and I am reluctant to...
No, it's not that issue, Chair.
Yeah.
We don't have to necessarily say that we're sending them away, Chair. You know, we can always adopt their responses as they are. And as we retreat to do our reports, we make our recommendations in that report, Chair. We don't have to listen to this, Chair. We can adopt their responses as they furnished us. And we say goodbye, we see in Maralal, and we can do our report.
Actually, Chair, is second also. Okay, we can finish this one, but for the next entity, Chair, we just get the written submissions, and when we retreat, we do a report. Otherwise, we are repeating, because it is, and they are very shallow. If you check the responses, it's never, they have not put any thought professionally.
Members,
Chair, I think I had the officer from National Treasury indicate that they do a lot of capacity building of county officers. Me, I would request, because the governors come with a team that he expects to respond adequately to the issues. So, Chair, I would only request that as a committee we advise that these officers are taken through some training, because surely we are treated to the same shallow and futuristic and all these kind of responses. Do we sit here for a whole day or half a day and continue complaining on how the responses are? Let them be trained.
I think Governor told you that he has a very highly qualified people.
Chairman, even if I didn't have a qualified team,
yes.
and I'm sorry that I'm on your side on this, why would somebody not realize what is they're being asked here? And I'm sorry that I'm not saying this. Because the difference here is about 400,000 of what you've collected and what you've reported. You actually report saying you've used more. So because I have the CEO for health here, who is in charge of this hospital, I think he's better equipped to tell us, even verbally, why, because I have officers, and I don't think you require any training to know the difference between 53 million and 3 shillings, and 3,000 shillings, and the difference between 53 million and 400,000 shillings. It doesn't really require any training. So, and I want to appreciate the issue of training. But I said before, we have competent officers all over. Everybody here, at least in the accounting department, is a CPA. Yeah, of course. But I want to put my CEO, who's in charge of referral hospital, in front of this committee to tell us why this response is. If you agree.
Senator Lelego?
Chair, clearly from the submissions by the county executive, at the time of their response to the management letter from the auditors, they were not ready. Even now, when they are submitting their response to the committee, they are not ready, or they are not sure what they are responding to. I don't know why an officer responding to the auditor could say that we are going to do that in the next financial year without responding to the substantial question or substantive question from the auditor. From clearly from their responses, they are going away from, or they are refusing to respond to the auditor's questions. They are only giving us hope that in the next financial year, in their next report, they are going to correct. So clearly they are admitting liability of what is contained in the auditor's report.
So honorable members, let me allow the gentleman there to respond to this, and then, honorable members, the next report we are going to is even worse.
Yeah.
Because let me give you an example. There is a query here on inaccuracies in financial statement, and the answer is, Mr. Chairman, we have noted the concerns raised on the need to provide accurate financial statement. We have since corrected these, and then you go to another one, unsupported refundable deposits and repayment. Mr. Chair, the concern is noted. You see, Governor, how watu wamekuangusha?
Yeah, I'm not trying to excuse that, but somehow, over time, since I became governor, because I knew nothing about this stuff before, I've sat with these auditors, and I want the auditors to listen to me. And every time I sit with auditors, and they want to help some of us respond to this, or we want to understand their questions. When we want to understand the question, what they say is unlike what Senator Samburu is saying. They don't say liability, but they say when the auditors picked something of inaccuracies, and there's really nothing you can do about it, you agree that it was inaccurate. And that is, it's different from liability though, but you own up in English, you own up. So what auditors tell us, unless they're also misleading us, because I've sat with them before, when you have something that is inaccurately reported, you own up. So I think unless we are guided by somebody else other than the auditors, just allow me to finish. The auditors will respond. And I also had something about the auditors that I wanted to say a little bit. So they tell us to own up, and that's why the statements tend to own up on something that was inaccurate, and also refer that in future, when you own up, can I finish, Senator? When you own up something as a human being, the next set of action is you own up and provide that you will change in future. I think that is so human. The other thing I wanted to say from the accountant, and I think Chairman skipped that, Kidogo, my accountant guy here said something that some of the things should not have been in the audit query, and I think we left that. Maybe there are also gaps somewhere when you provide reports and yeah.
Chair, I think you need to give the auditor to clarify this.
No, I don't need to, because...
Please, Chair.
I don't need to, because the audit is a process.
They are ready to say something about that.
It's a process, a very detailed process, where if the county had issues, they should have raised those issues during the audit process. We do not want to start now coming here and say...
Chair, then what is the difference between owning up and a liability and accepting a liability?
You can say something.
Honorable Chair, I wanted to clarify on the issue of owning up. We normally give them 2 times to revise the financial statements, and every time there is an inaccuracy in the financial statements, the recommendation is always one. You reconcile those variances so that you can come with the correct figures. We don't advise them to own up. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Governor,
yeah. Putting on something that I can 100% sure say I was told to do. So, being the governor, they tell you own up and say auditor.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes. And I think on the same, and I want the same auditor to confirm that those inaccuracies were addressed, and that's why we didn't look at query number 1 and 2, because they were already addressed. I want maybe him to confirm that.
You are completely out of order.
Mr. Chair, I think our understanding in this point was on...
Don't argue with the chair.
Okay.
There is a query. You have been told to respond to the query. Give your facts in that query. Don't say it was addressed. How was it addressed? It is only addressed after you have responded to the query and the committee thinks that the matter is satisfactorily addressed. You cannot, for example, you are referring to that query on inaccuracies. Look at your answer. Your answer is, Mr. Chairman, we have noted the concerns raised on the need to provide accurate financial statement. We have since corrected this. That's not enough. You document all the facts answering the query, and then the committee will look at it and say, yes, this has answered the query. You cannot just put one sentence response and say you have responded to everything. Auditors.
Chairman, before the auditors, can I ask, please, my CEO should be able, and I'm sorry to say this, should be able, even orally, to provide us with some answer, and understand totally what you're saying, of the variance between 53, blah, blah, 3 million, and then orally, just for the benefit of the committee, and for the comfort of the committee, even if we didn't provide this a report, at least someone can walk out here knowing that the 400,000 difference was not reported or recorded, but it is from somewhere. Just for the comfort of the committee.
Chair, I wanted to say before Samburu governor says, I know the accountant who has just spoken, I hope he knows the audit process. You know, audit is a process, it's not an event. And when you own up, even the way the governor said, the auditor said you own up, you own up, and then at the same time you rectify, because I expect that when you own up, before even coming to this committee, you will say, we have done 1, 2, 3, and what we cannot do now in the next audit cycle, we will sort it out. That is what should come in your response. But the response is just a line or two lines. So I think that is what is lacking, Chair. And then number two, Chair, is, we should not make the meeting to look like, the county and the auditors, are coming to have conflict in the committee. We should not allow that, Chair. And then number three, Chair, let me finish. And then number three, Chair, because we have seen, this is the last audit query on the hospital, well, maybe then the governor needs to, because you have been told even the next report is not really very good. As a gentleman, and you'll work very closely with this team, you would even request more time to say, please, Chair, because of these issues, and because of some capacity, which you're saying you have competent, but there is an issue, of course, not 100% competent. You would request and say, give me more time to go and sort out these issues. When you're auditing 2024-25, then basically you will come up with a better report instead of again coming next year with the similar report. You can ask for more time to clean this thing and
Chair, in the interest of time, I had moved, I would call it a small motion. I had moved a motion before you, and I had a seconder in the name of Senator Kisang. Perhaps, Chair, you can give a ruling and directions to that particular request I had made before you, Chair, on whether we can adopt the responses.
Okay, there is a comment he has made. He has said that we can give the county the option to go and rework out these responses and submit appropriate responses to the committee. The second option is for us to proceed and do a report based on what has been submitted to us. But what has been submitted to us is not sufficient, which means we will eventually end up adopting the auditor's query, which may not be in your favor. Because where we don't have a good response, we adapt what the auditor has said. So maybe, Governor, you can help us on this.
Okay.
Two options. One,
Sure.
we proceed with these responses as they are, and we make our decision, our report, or we give you more time to go and do it.
Thank you, Chair.
Do it rightly.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much for giving me those two options. And I will take the option of going back and correcting some of these things. But I will ask you that we can submit them without coming back here. We can submit to your clerk the correct, the correct information. Because I would imagine, honestly, if my CEO for health here sits for 2 seconds and looks at 53, the difference between the 253 millions, which is about 400,000, he can easily provide the reason why there is a difference. So, Chair, with that simple example, I would ask you through you to give us time so that we can correct these documents and provide to your office, to your clerk, to this committee, and to the auditors, some sort of updated document.
To the auditor.
For the obvious, because of the very obvious things here that we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We will allow you to go and work on the responses afresh and present them to the auditor. The auditor will present them to us. The decision as to whether we will adopt the written responses or call you here again will be determined by your responses, your own responses. If we feel the responses are adequate, we will not invite you here. But if we feel the responses need some clarification, then again we will invite you here to come. But Governor, I want you to organize your team. We have the county attorney. He has a responsibility. Yeah, she has a responsibility on matters of legal issues around. You have seen we have been referring to legal issues. Then you have your chief officer and your CEC finance. They need to take the lead in this process of, one, the audit process. When the auditors are on the ground, the person who should take keen interest should be the CEC Finance. Then the Chief Officer Finance should also be there, because we cannot have this kind of responses if the two were very serious with their work. And they are embarrassing you for nothing, Governor. So sit down with them, make them understand that this exercise we are doing is not in futility. This exercise is in law, and this exercise is for the good of people of Samburu and Kenyans generally. So we will allow you to go with that option. And how much time do you need to reprocess these responses?
Sure, I think 2 weeks is enough.
2 weeks.
Not enough. I don't think.
It may not be
it's
enough.
also good, Governor, to ask for adequate time, because when you are done with the report, it means the auditors will verify and check before they are submitted to us. So if you ask for 2 weeks, it will still be shallow. So that's for good time.
Maybe the governor can allow his technical people to be the ones to ask for time, because they are the ones who are going to deal with the documents. Yeah? So it should be the technical people to say how much time they need. Yeah.
Yeah, Senator Mudama, what is it?
Yeah, because Chair, even at on the water issues, the board you've not gazetted, so it's not in place. So that time is not enough. 2, on the customer deposits, you don't have an account for it in the water. You put it in the same pool with the other monies, and so the customer deposit account money has been used, which there is a law for it. It should never be used. If you borrow it to use, you borrow only 5%, which you also repay within 1 year. And now for that time, I'm sure you've used all the deposits and there is no law. So I think it should also be read for that law, so that as they go and come back, they come with clear report of everything. So 2 weeks is not enough for you, Governor. Sure. And don't defend your people. Let them work. You've employed them to work.
I stand guided, and I was not defending them. In fact, I needed your help when I said the CEO should answer the most basic question. What's the difference between the 400,000, just orally? And that's.
And Chair, you see,
I'm not defending them at all.
You see, nobody understood me when I said the governor should go back and come with a clean report, because we had gone through all of them and I saw they were in a mess, and that is why I was saying you go.
Okay.
Chair.
Members, okay. You,
I'm not.
Senator
Please.
Amida, and then we finish with Senator Bogwa, and lastly Senator Lelegwe, and then we will close.
Chair, I'm just wondering, the incompetence that and the challenges that governor is facing, whom is he going to rework with? Are they the same staff that are incompetent? That's a question mark. How do you do it again? Because it is so obvious that they are lazy, they are incompetent, and they're shallow actually with their work. And this is they have come to embarrass you, Governor. This is quite embarrassing. So I'm wondering, is it the same team that you're going to work with? I mean, then maybe you might need, I'll say it boldly, you need a better team. Maybe it's not the same team that you should work with for now.
Senator Mbogwa?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe, Governor, I would want maybe your Chief Officer for Health to tell this committee whether he is aware of the Facilities Improvement Financing Act of 2023 and how far the County of Samburu has gone ahead to implement it.
I think, members, we are going into the queries now,
yes.
which we have said, we are now going into queries which we have said that they respond to. So we are restarting the meeting again. I know FIF is another problem there. You will, in your responses, you will tell us more about it. Senator Lelegwe.
Chair, I agree with the motion moved by Senator Chimera and seconded by Senator Folgei Marakwet that we need to adjourn and give the county government enough time to give this committee appropriate responses, because as far as we are concerned, or what we have received or consumed in this committee is that we cannot admit those reports as a committee. And if we admit, then it will be adverse on them. Secondly, I'm not sure whether we have gone to the last report, the report of the Samburu Water and Sanitation Company. I don't know if we've handled that report. When we make decision on this, for them to go and bring us recommendations or a better report, then we proceed to that. I'm
not understanding. Which report are you referring to? Which year?
Water.
Water for which year?
The current report we have before the committee.
Yes, that's why.
Are we there?
That's why we have ruled that he will bring fresh responses.
For all the reports before the committee today?
All the reports before us.
No.
Because you remember, I read some portions of that response, and I said even the water has a lot of issues which are not properly responded to. So they are going to bring responses for water and for the hospital. The two reports.
Including the board is not in place.
That's
and Sanitation Company Board, and they have worked for several years, and they have been drawing because they are illegal. They are not in the committee. I don't know if there is a gazette notice for
majority, deputy majority whip. That is also a query in the water report. So I would suggest that since we have allowed them to go and redo their responses, let us handle it at that point when they be coming. You want to say something?
Something little.
Okay.
From the auditors themselves, they noted in their report that the due process was followed in terms of recruiting of board members. Report. It's not mine. So due process was there. Madam Senator, I appreciate all the things.
Gazetted?
That's what I'm getting. And I'm sorry to say this, I didn't know personally that you need to gazette these people. And I have to admit that in all honesty.
Now, stop there,
Let me
Governor.
just say something.
Governor,
The person,
stop
but
there.
when I read, I learned that the person who is supposed to gazette is the CC, who is sitting here today, the CC for water. And after getting the report, who gazettes is the CC, it's not me. You know, you can, after you are governor, you
Chair,
cannot
give
be.
me a minute.
Governor,
Chair, give me a minute.
We have gazetted everything in Samburu, including health centers. I didn't know that this water board.
Governor, you
But
are
Governor,
the CEO.
Governor, just confirm whether they were sworn in.
Members,
Or not, Governor?
please get
On what basis?
I don't know.
Governor, 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 you
But
cannot
it
say
has
that.
said here that due process was followed.
Take control
Aya.
of this.
Members,
Governor.
order. Can we have Senator Kavindu?
Governor, you cannot tell us openly you don't know. You are the CEO of Samburu County. Whatever happens in any of those organizations, you should be in control. And that is why we are questioning you and not the CECs. It is you who is responsible for that.
That's
And,
why
I hope you'll work very closely with our team here before you bring that report to us. Because if you bring it back again, that way we'll send you back again.
Governor, Article 179 of the Constitution, it says the executive authority of the county is vested in the governor, assisted by his county executive committee. Now, when you tell us you are not aware and you have employed a county attorney should be knowing this, should be advising you that you need to gazette this, you need to do this.
Chair, I wanted one request, Chair. You know, the peak committee from the County Assembly of Samburu are also here. Maybe, if chair, to be fair, maybe you give the chair 1 minute to make a comment. At least he has, at least no, it's good. Just, not the chair, at least it's good to give.
Honorable members, we have already made a decision, Kwamba. We have already made a decision that the county government of Samburu should go and redo the responses. And therefore, we will not open the debate again on the report. We will end there and adjourn until Monday at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Adjourn until Monday, 8 a.m. Thank you very much, Governor. Safe journey back to Samburu.